The belief-changing protocol I share with you today has the power to completely transform your ability to manifest money, to change the numbers in your bank account statement, and it allowed me to put $500,000 in my bank account, and I know that this is only the beginning. And that's why in today's video I reveal the 10 steps of Neville Goddard's belief-changing protocol that made me rich, the wealth-generating truth about the I Am that is hidden deep in the lectures of Neville Goddard, and the right and shield principle of belief transformation that 99% of creators don't even think of, and it leads to the fastest results. And keep in mind that this 10-step belief-changing protocol is a closed framework, and if you only miss out on one of the steps, this could make it so much harder for you to manifest the abundance you truly want. Now let's jump right into the first step that you have to take if you want to 2x, 5x or even 10x your income. The first step I'm about to share with you right now is often overlooked, yet it is so incredibly powerful. And once you make this realization, you will never let another thought go by unnoticed. And if you've studied the power of awareness or At Your Command or Feeling is the Secret, then you know that Neville Goddard is teaching the law of assumption. But is it only the law of assumption? Because I still remember when I made the realization about the law of assumption. Isn't an assumption the same as... And even the universe was celebrating my realization. Finally he got it! This is better than Christmas! The first step of Neville Goddard's belief-changing protocol is to realize that the law of assumption is the law of beliefs, which means that by you changing your beliefs, you are changing your reality. And unless you change your beliefs, your reality will stay the same. And if you don't believe me, then let's have a look at the official definition of the word assumption. A thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. Now here's another definition. A belief or a feeling that something is true or that something will happen, although there is no proof. The second definition of the word assumption even includes the word belief. And now I invite you to have a look at the definition for the word belief. Any proposition that is accepted as true on the basis of inconclusive evidence. Your Honor, I rest my case. The law of assumption is the law of belief, which means that by you changing your beliefs with the step-by-step protocol that I share with you in this video, you will inevitably, by using the law of assumption, completely transform your reality. And the same happened to me, which allowed me to put more than $500,000 in my bank account. And that's why Neville Goddard said in The Feeling is the Secret, and that assumption, though denied by your senses, though the world would say it is false, if you persist in it, it will harden into fact. This is the law of your own wonderful imagining. Believe it, and it will become a reality. And you can easily change the quote by changing the word assumption into belief, and the meaning remains the same. And that belief, though denied by your senses, though the world would say it is false, if you persist in it, it will harden into fact. This is the law of your own wonderful imagining. Believe it, and it will become a reality. An assumption, just like a belief, is an act of faith. And everybody who doesn't believe that a belief change has the power to completely alter your reality is foolish or ignorant. In fact, Neville Goddard himself said that you will inevitably become your abundant, wealthy self if you assume and believe that you already are this version of you. Because here's what he said. Regardless of what you want to be, you must declare you already are it and persist in that assumption. An assumption is an act of faith, and without faith it is impossible to please God. Your reasoning mind may deny wealth, your senses deny it too, but if you have faith, you will dare to assume wealth, thereby becoming the man you want to be. And that's why I was able to manifest financial freedom for myself, and you will be able to do the same, but only if you also follow step number 2. Now, what do you have to do when you renovate a house? You have to throw out all the old furniture that you can't even look at anymore without wanting to paint your floor with your breakfast. And our beliefs that are stuck in our brain are just like food that is stuck in the fridge. And maybe that burger that you put there 2 years ago, and yes, these are flies flying over the burger, the burger that you put there 2 years ago in the fridge once served a purpose. It was saving you from starvation, it was protecting you. But now this burger has to go because it's no longer good. You can no longer eat it, it no longer serves any purpose. And the same is true for your old beliefs. So now it's time for step number 2 of the belief changing protocol, which is all about uncovering all the limiting beliefs that are currently holding you back from manifesting your potential. Because if you don't become aware of these limiting beliefs, then you don't know what beliefs about your worthiness of money or in general about money are holding you back from reaching your abundant self. And here's what Neville Goddard said in Feeling Is the Secret. Do not waste one moment in regret, for to think feelingly of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. So every negative, every limiting belief that you think about money and your worthiness of money will then reinfect you again and again, and then lead to the same outcome, to the same reality. And unless you change these beliefs, unless you in the first step become aware of them and then change them into empowering beliefs and allow your conscious and then also your subconscious mind to embrace these empowering beliefs, your reality cannot change. But now you might be asking yourself, okay, what do I have to do in order to change my beliefs? And the first step towards uncovering these beliefs and to then transforming them is to realize that your past does not define your future. Your future hasn't been written yet. You are the operant power. And as the operant power, you can make the decision today to change your beliefs and to therefore change your reality. It doesn't matter if you have thought certain beliefs for a decade, for 3 decades, it does not matter. Always remember that your past beliefs can only influence your future if you don't change them and if you allow them to change your future. And that's why Neville Goddard said, "Man believes the future to be the natural development of the past, but the law of assumption clearly shows that this is not the case. Your assumption places you psychologically where you are not physically. Then your senses pull you back from where you were psychologically to where you are physically. It is these psychological forward motions that produce your physical forward motions in time." And in the second step, I invite you to go down memory lane and to look back at your childhood, at your teenage years, and every stage of your life and ask yourself, what memories, what experiences can I identify that led to a lack and scarcity mindset about money? And I, for example, still remember an event that happened when I must have been 12 or 13 years old, and during that time, lack and scarcity was installed in my mind. So go down memory lane. And then I invite you to write down all the limiting beliefs that could have potentially led to you limiting yourself in your ability of manifesting money. And in week number 1 of my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program, we're going to do that together. And I'm going to work with my intuition to find every single limiting belief that you have that right now you might not even be consciously aware of, but that might already be holding you back for more than a decade. And that's why Neville Goddard shared the following words with us: "In imagination creates reality." That which is confronting you in your world now is the result of your past thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and imaginal activity. These appearances will continue in being as long as you give them life through your conscious awareness of them. And that's why it's so important to take the power away from your limiting beliefs and to guide your power towards empowering beliefs. And this leads me to step number 3 of the belief changing protocol, which is so controversial that for a long time I was debating whether or not I should actually include it, but it's so important for your transformation, so I thought I'm gonna include it. Sometimes I'm actually happy that I didn't stumble upon Neville Goddard's teachings when I was in high school, because even though I always enjoyed religion classes for some reason, I could never really connect with the Bible and the stories in the Bible and just everything that was taught in religion class. And I would have probably been this annoying kid that always wants to debate the teacher saying, "Yeah, but Neville Goddard said..." And then once I stumbled upon the teachings of Neville Goddard, suddenly everything made sense to me. Suddenly all the religious stories, all the religious teachings, especially once I read At Your Command, they made sense. And this leads me directly to step number 3 of the belief changing protocol that is so controversial but so important for you, no matter if you want to manifest money, love, or physical healing. And that's the following step. Establish the belief that you are God, the creator and consciousness. And I know it's controversial. Some people would even say that it's blasphemy, but my grandmother, who used to pray in the church every weekend and who went down on her knees and she was begging God to give her what she wants, she never received anything. But millions of people have used the work from Neville Goddard to manifest their dreams. And here's what Neville Goddard said in The Power of Awareness. You are God. You are the I am that I am. You are consciousness. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers, prophets and mystics throughout the ages. And that doesn't mean that you have to go full Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and scream around, "I am the golden god." That's not what I mean. And that's also not what Neville Goddard meant. It's also not about you being Bruce Almighty and trying to push cars to the side. It's not about being a god in the external. It's about realizing that God is within you as your creative power and consciousness. In fact, Neville Goddard said this in Your Faith is Your Fortune. Because of your belief in external things, you think power into them by transferring the power that you are to the external thing. Realize you yourself are the power you have mistakenly given to outer conditions. You are the power that creates your life, so claim to be this power. You are the creator, you are the operant power in your life. You create your reality. Nobody in the external does it for you. You do it by tapping within yourself and by using this wonderful creative power to your advantage. And once you've embraced this life-changing belief, it is time for step number 4. Now, what if I told you that most people manifest just like a donkey walks? Because just like a donkey walks with a carrot dangling in front of the donkey, most people are trying to manifest their future while always following their future but never reaching it. And that's why it's so important for you, if you want to change your belief system in a way that it allows you to manifest the abundance you want, that you remove the word will from your vocabulary. Because as long as you say to yourself, "I will be abundant, I will be rich, I will be this and that," you are just like a donkey with a carrot dangling in front of that donkey, and you will never ever reach it. I mean, just have a look at what Neville Goddard says in The Power of Awareness. "I will be is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that you are the Father, there is only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am. Your will is always I will be." But that's only the beginning of step number 4, because step number 4 is all about establishing one guiding, claiming belief that guides you to your future life and that builds the foundation of your mental diet, because Neville Goddard also said this: I am wealthy, poor, healthy, sick, free, confined, were first of all impressions or conditions felt before they became visible expressions. I am, your consciousness, is the magical lost word which was made flesh in the likeness of that which you are conscious of being. And that's why I now want to ask you, who are you ready to claim to be in order to draw your abundant future to you? My current core claiming belief that builds the foundation of my mental diet is I am a millionaire. And this allows me, I know that it does, it allows me to draw this reality to me, because every day I ask myself, how would I act from this new level of consciousness? What actions would I take? What actions would I not take? Who am I? How would I express myself as a millionaire? And that's why I invite you to think about your core claiming belief that you want to repeat all day long, that you want to step into every day, that you want to make the foundation of your mental diet. And yes, you need to claim it, because Neville Goddard said, claim yourself to be the thing desired. I am that. No sacrifice, no diet, no human tricks. All that is asked of you is to accept your desire. If you dare claim it, you will express it. Now here are some other practical examples. I am a powerful creator who has $700,000 in my bank account. I am so financially free that I can travel the world indefinitely. I am the owner of a luxury penthouse in New York. And that's why I invite you to go on a strict mental diet with this core claiming belief, in which you claim to be the I am that is in alignment with the life you want to materialize. And then your life and your reality has to change in accordance to this belief. And that's why Neville Goddard says the following words in Your Faith is Your Fortune. Your whole world may be likened to solidified space, mirroring the beliefs and acceptances as projected by a formless, faceless presence, namely I am. But what I'm about to share with you now can lead you down a dark path, or it can lead to a full-blown spiritual awakening. It is your choice. And I had to make this realization because at some point during my manifestation journey, I was convinced that claiming my power as a creator and changing my beliefs about money would be enough to draw all the abundance I wanted to me. But that's when the universe said this to me: "You know nothing, Jon Snow." I had no idea that the rabbit hole would go way deeper than that, and in just a moment it will make complete sense to you that I said at the beginning of this video that each and every step of this belief-changing protocol that I share with you is absolutely crucial for your transformation, which then leads to the transformation of your physical reality. And I can confidently say that 99% of people who want to manifest money don't even think about this. Because it's not enough to just change your beliefs about money. You have to go deeper than that, way deeper. And that's why Neville Goddard said this in Your Faith is Your Fortune. Your inner acceptance must become an intense, unalterable conviction which transcends both reason and intellect, renouncing entirely any belief in the reality of the externalization except as a reflection of an inner state of consciousness. So how can you have an intense, unalterable conviction that you are destined to be rich and wealthy if you believe any of the following beliefs? Life is hard. The world is a hostile place. I'm so unlucky. Life is unfair. And while these beliefs are not directly related to money, they have the power to keep you poor until the rest of your life. And this leads me to step number 5 of the belief changing protocol. Change your beliefs about your life, about the world you live in, and about the experiences you make in your physical reality. Transform the belief that life is hard into the belief that life is beautiful. Transform the belief that the world is a hostile place into the belief that the world is your playground. Transform the belief that you are unlucky into the belief that you are lucky. And transform the belief that life is unfair into the belief that life gives you anything you want. Because if you continue to believe that the world is a hostile place, then the money you want can't flow to you, because your physical reality has to reaffirm your belief that the world is a hostile place. And if you continue to believe that you are unlucky, then of course more things that make you feel unlucky, that reaffirm this belief, will flow to you. And then you cannot have the luck that leads you to all the ideas, opportunities, and synchronicities, which then lead you to the wealth you desire. And yes, it might take some time for you to go through this process of changing your beliefs about the world you live in, about your reality, about your experiences in it. And of course, if we do that in a deep hypnosis, which we're going to do in week number 2 of my Abundance Reality Shift coaching program, then your subconscious mind can incorporate these new beliefs faster. However, you have to go through this process because consciousness is the only reality. And that's why Neville Goddard said this in The Power of Awareness. When you know that consciousness is the one and only reality, conceiving itself to be something good, bad, or indifferent, and becoming that which it conceived itself to be, you are free from the tyranny of second causes, free from the belief that there are causes outside of your own mind that can affect your life. There are no causes outside of your own mind that affect your life. So unless you change your beliefs about your life, about the world you live in, and about the experiences in your physical reality, these beliefs will influence your bank account statement, and they can either influence it in a positive way or in a negative way. But these beliefs, even though from the outside they might not be directly related to money, they have all the power over the money that you are able to manifest. It might sound crazy, but step number 6 is the hardest for so many people because the ego investment is the strongest, and that's why the universe tells you, letting go of your ego, you must. If you had asked me before my spiritual awakening in the year 2020 what I was thinking about somebody who buys a Bugatti or a yacht or anything else that is expensive, or at least that from my limited money consciousness back then was perceived as expensive, I would have probably reacted in a way where I immediately labeled this person as a criminal, as a crook, because how can you make this amount of money in an ethical way? And while I was doing this, the universe reacted like this. No, he just doesn't get it. You might not even be consciously aware of it, but a lot of people are conditioned to believe that rich people are evil, or at least they are conditioned to associate vast amounts of money with negative perceptions and negative stereotypes. And of course, watching the news doesn't help, because when you watch the news, you see this one billionaire who's screwing everyone over, but you don't see the hundreds of billionaires who are just genuinely good people, who are helping and who are living their lives with their families. Always keep in mind that money is neutral. It's neutral just like a hammer is neutral. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to boink, kill somebody. It's not the hammer's fault. The hammer is neutral. But the universe can only give you the money that you want if you do not judge and not condemn people who have the money you want, because otherwise you are not in alignment with the money, and of course then the money can't flow to you. And that's why Neville Goddard said this in Awakened Imagination. To move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of beliefs. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. And you simply cannot attract your dream mansion if you judge somebody who has this dream mansion, or at least a similar mansion. And that's why I invite you to embrace step number 6 of the belief changing protocol, which is to change your beliefs about the ones who already have what you want to manifest, which is money. So how about the following beliefs? There are so many wealthy people who are incredible human beings. Many wealthy people are generous and help others. I am generous with my wealth, just like so many others who have achieved financial freedom. I am happy for everyone who has achieved financial freedom. Whenever I see a rich person spend money, it reminds me of how much abundance there is. Remind yourself of these beliefs the next time you see somebody getting out of a Bugatti or Lamborghini or Ferrari, even if you don't want to buy one, because Neville Goddard said, imagination creates reality. It doesn't matter what you have been taught. You can change your beliefs and so change the circumstances of your life. So you might have been taught that all rich people are evil and they want to steal the moon, but this will only keep you poor. And you can start shifting your beliefs from today onwards. For the next step of the belief changing protocol, we have to remember that the Beatles were singing "All you need is love," but the truth is that you also need some money. That doesn't mean that you can buy love, but we can't ignore the fact that 25% of all divorces are initiated because of financial struggle, financial disagreement, and issues with money. And then of course there is this famous saying, money doesn't buy happiness, which I'm very sure was invented by rich people so that the poor people don't want their money. Lord Backisher from Porthworth, what can we tell the people so that they don't want our money? Just tell them that money doesn't buy happiness. What a splendid idea! It's kinda like when the rich royal families in the medieval times told the poor peasants that they will be richly rewarded in heaven because of their current circumstances. And then the peasants were like, okay, well, I guess then it's alright. And yes, they might have accepted their fate, but you do not have to accept your fate. And let me tell you from my own experience as somebody who was broke throughout his 20s, that not having any money definitely doesn't make you happy, and having more money leads to a lot of happiness in your life because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. Your stress levels go down, you feel safe, you feel secure, you can buy better food, you can buy better accommodation, you can buy more comfort. I mean, money is a huge contributor to happiness, and everyone who tells you otherwise is simply lying to you, or telling you something because they only think in extremes. Because when you tell people, yeah, I love money, then they say, yeah, but there are other things that are more important than money. I'm like, yeah, I don't deny that. Of course, health and family and love, those are all important things, but because you love one doesn't mean you can't love the other. So stop thinking in these extremes and embrace step number 7 of the belief changing protocol. And step number 7 is to change your beliefs about the thing that you want to manifest. So when it comes to this tiny, innocent, not so innocent belief, money doesn't buy happiness, what signal do you send out into the field if you believe that money doesn't buy happiness? Universe, I mean, I don't really need more money because it doesn't buy happiness anyway, so why should I want more? Why should I get more? And then the universe says, okay, you said money doesn't buy you any happiness, it doesn't make you happier at all. Then I, don't have to give it to you. Or let's take another popular belief, that money is the root of all evil. And do you really want to become evil? Do you want to be one of these greedy bastards? Of course not. And that's why you block the flow of money. So why don't you try the following belief? The more money I make, the more I can help others, and the more I can make the world a better place. Now that's a good belief to have if you want to attract money. And now let's have a look at what Neville Goddard said in Imagination Creates Reality. That which you think about with feeling, that which you believe to be true, and that which you imagine yourself to be or to have is the cause of everything in your personal world. Or let's take the funny but also equally limiting belief that money doesn't grow on trees, because the universe disagrees with this belief. This is my money tree and it is growing beautifully. But seriously, if you believe that money doesn't grow on trees, which means that it's hard to get, then it will be insanely hard for you to manifest money. But if you believe that money can flow to you easily, then it can in fact flow to you easily and show up in your physical reality. And Neville Goddard explains this principle in Your Faith is Your Fortune. All things are possible to him who believes. Make the impossible possible through your belief, and the impossible to others will embody itself in your world. And that's exactly what we're going to do together in week number 1 of my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. We're going to dive deep into all your limiting beliefs, not just about people who are wealthy and about yourself as a creator, but also all the limiting beliefs that were formed in your childhood, teenage years, and during your adult life that are currently stopping the flow of money, because these beliefs are directly related to money. And this leads me to the next step. Only if you accept that with great power comes great responsibility will you be able to manifest your abundant dream life. And even though I'm not Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, at the beginning of my journey of manifesting, I struggled with the idea that I am a powerful creator and that I am the operant power as Neville Goddard always describes it. And this leads me directly to step number 8 of the belief changing protocol, which is to change your beliefs about your power as a manifester in a general and in a specific context. Because in Your Faith is Your Fortune, Neville Goddard said, in the midst of all the doubts and changing opinions of others, let there be a conviction, a firmness of belief, and you shall see the dry land. Your belief will appear. But your belief will only appear if you believe that you have the power to make it appear. And that's why I now want to share some of the most popular limiting beliefs that my clients were struggling with before they started working with me. I understand that other people can manifest their dreams, but I don't think it will happen for me. I'm just not that good at manifesting. I can't visualize. I just don't have what it takes to succeed at this. I've been trying it for so long, but it just doesn't seem to work for me. And you have to realize that all these beliefs are self-fulfilling prophecies, just like every belief. And that's why Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. And now Sebastian will famously say, whether you think you can visualize or you can't visualize, you are right. So who do you want to claim yourself to be? Somebody who can visualize and who is a powerful creator, or somebody who cannot visualize and who's not a powerful creator? And it's so much better to claim yourself to be the ideal, because Neville Goddard said, claim yourself to be your ideal, not as something that you will be in time, but as that which you are in the immediate present. Do this, and your present world of limitations will disintegrate as your new claim rises like the phoenix from its ashes. And you also have to rise like a phoenix from the ashes when it comes to your specific beliefs about the specific thing that you want to manifest. So here are some beliefs that I have, specifically focused on my ability to manifest money. I am a powerful creator and I draw money to me easily and effortlessly. My ability to manifest money leads to so much freedom, joy, and adventures. Money flows to me easily. I love money and money loves me. And it's good for your bank account statement if you love money, just like step number 9 that I'm going to share with you right now is good for you. Let's imagine for a moment that there are two people, and one of them is Hans and the other one is Karl-Heinz, and both Hans and Karl-Heinz are writing a book. And while Hans is never checking for spelling errors and for mistakes he makes, Karl-Heinz is actually checking for spelling errors and mistakes he makes, and that's why Karl-Heinz gets the book deal while Hans doesn't get the book deal. Now, what does that have to do with your ability to manifest abundance and financial freedom? Everything, because in The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard said this: what you consent to can only be discovered by an uncritical observation of your reactions to life. Your reactions reveal where you live psychologically, and where you live psychologically determines how you live here in the outer visible world. And this leads us to step number 9, which is to become aware of your thoughts and your unconscious reactions, because they are always based on your beliefs. And just like Hans will never get a deal with a publishing house because he does not check in on himself, he does not check for spelling mistakes and for other mistakes he made, you will never manifest the abundance you truly want if you don't check in on yourself, if you don't observe your unconscious reactions, if you don't observe your thought patterns. And that's why I now want to share some practical exercises with you how you can accomplish exactly that. Exercise number 1, set a timer on your phone for every hour and then check in on yourself and ask yourself, am I thinking, acting and reacting like my abundant self or like my old self that is based in lack and scarcity? Exercise 2, step into the role of a third-person observer when you have an emotional reaction to a circumstance, and then ask yourself in this detached way, how would an abundant person react instead? An abundant person doesn't react mindlessly to situations because as an abundant person, you are mindful of finding opportunities in every situation. An abundant person does not react impatient because as an abundant person, you have an abundance of money and time. An abundant person doesn't react angry or frustrated because as an abundant person, you are in love with your life. And Neville Goddard said the following words: you can be anything in this world, but you cannot know it or expect it to come unless you act. If you react based on the past, you continue in the same pattern. And even more money can flow to you if you also follow the last step of the belief changing protocol that I'm going to share with you right now. Now, what if I told you that there is one simple exercise that makes sure that you never fall back into old patterns again? Because there is one thing that makes it so easy for us to fall back into old patterns, and it's this thing. And here's how it usually goes. You successfully change your belief system with the tips and techniques I shared with you in this video, but then you continue to watch the same TV shows, to watch the news, to listen to the same music, and then everything you consume pulls you back again into the old self. It happens to so many, and that's why it's important to follow step number 10 of the belief changing protocol, which is the write and shield technique. And the write and shield technique, as the name already says, means that you write down every limiting thought, every limiting belief, every limiting feeling that continues to show up, and you become aware of it and you then transform it. But at the same time, and this is crucial, you shield yourself from any incoming information that could pull you back again into the old self. And in your faith is your fortune, Neville Goddard said, now that the law of your being has been revealed to you, begin this day to change your world by revaluing yourself. Too long has man held to the belief that he is born of sorrow and must work out his salvation by the sweat of his brow. Yes, you have to revalue yourself. And if you truly valued yourself, you would not consume any content that could block the flow of money that you want to experience in your physical reality. And that's why you have to shield yourself against it. Because Neville Goddard reminds us that all of your present beliefs, fears and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, you must leave behind all that is now your present self or conception of yourself. And that's why it's so important for me that now that you've changed your beliefs, you don't allow new limiting beliefs to come in or the old limiting beliefs to grow again in your garden. And if you follow this right and shield principle, you will receive life's gifts and more abundance than you can possibly imagine. Because in your faith is your fortune, Neville Goddard said, your belief that you are now that which you desire to be is proof of your acceptance of life's gifts. And if you want to give yourself the opportunity to attract large sums of money, then I invite you to go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/abundance or to click on the first link in the description to find out more about my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. And of course, you can also click on the second link in the description or go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/mastery to find out more about my audio program, to which I recently added a brand new bonus that gives you access to more than 60 guided meditations and guided hypnosis files. Now you have the power to completely change your belief system and therefore your reality. But if you don't also go on a strict mental diet, you might be missing out on so many opportunities and so much abundance that can flow to you. And that's why I invite you to watch this video next. Because in this video I share with you exactly what changed in my life when I went on Neville Goddard's mental diet for 1,728 days.